Welcome back, Leveling Up Nation. This is your host, Brigham Blackham. I'm your success strategist, and today we have a very awesome guest. You are not going to believe it. We have not just an amazing fighter, it comes from the MMA background, but he is going to talk about how we can have some creative takedowns in our real estate as well. He is an amazing investor, a wonderful leader, someone I've known for years, and the longer I know him, the more I'm like, this is a man of integrity, someone that you definitely want to get to know. This conversation will also help you be able to picture how you can take some of your other experiences, things that you're like, I don't even know how that ties into what I do now, be able to supercharge your story and allow you to draw on all these experiences and see how you can focus it in on what you want to do to monetize your message. So grateful for you to be here. Guys, welcome to Leveling Up Podcast. We're going to introduce Umair Haque, the honey badger, the one, the only. So glad that you're here. How are you doing today?
What's up? Hi, Berg. I'm doing great. Grateful to be here. Happy to talk. Excited about life.
Excellent, man. Well, let's start off here. I know you were a professional in the MMA space. I watched a couple of your fights. I was like, man, I want to see how you did in action. Very scary. So, like, amazing amount of skill that goes into every single fight, and that preparation is just amazing. So you fought in the 135 weight class, is that right?
That's right.
Typically
135 and 140.
And 140.
Yeah.
Man, so you sometimes had to cut weight, sometimes had to just hit these really specific targets so you could perform the very best that you did. How has your MMA background, your mixed martial arts background, been able to help you create money-making activities, MMA, in your current real estate business? That's where I want to start. And then we're going to get really deep into this, doing creative takedowns, because now you've got a wealth of experience in real estate. And guys, it's not just like single family. He's doing stuff all over the place. And now you've really gotten into value-adding properties in the trailer park space, which I think is so cool. I heard a little bit about that on stage. But tell us how your background has started to feed into your current money-making activities.
Yeah. Well, I did kickboxing and karate and mixed martial arts and taekwondo growing up. I wrestled and stuff just to kind of stay out of trouble, keep a clear head, right?
Yeah.
And then as I got older and I got out of high school, I was like, what am I going to do with my life? And I was trying the college thing, and I was just really struggling with that. I'm not a sit there kind of guy. I'm a hands-on, let's make it happen, let's do it now. Why do I got to read this? Tell me what to do kind of guy. And so, yeah, I started doing professional mixed martial arts and boxing. And really, to be honest, when I started doing it for money, my passion sort of died, and I didn't do great as a professional. I was like, man, this sucks. Like, I'm spending all my money on eating healthy. I'm broke. I'm paying. It was really, really difficult. But I think things happen for a reason, right? And so with mixed martial arts and just learning hand-to-hand combat, there are a variety of ways that you have to defend yourself depending on the opponent or the challenge that's in front of you. So how that translated for me is when you get into business, entrepreneurship, investing, there are so many things that you're going to come in contact with, right? Like market changes, interest rate changes, global economic environment changes, personal changes. And so what MMA prepared me for, now that I look back at it, is the real world. Right? Yeah. And now that I'm doing, I've done fix and flips, I've done wholesaling, I've done raw land development, I've played a little bit with Airbnb arbitrage and the short-term rental stuff. And what it's taught me is, there's a variety of ways to build wealth. There's a variety of ways to make money. But as a mixed martial artist of the business world now, it's like, I've learned that there's no right or wrong way of doing it. It's really understanding yourself, what you want to accomplish, and then putting together the strategy stack, I call it, in order to make that happen.
So let's talk about this. I love that idea of the strategy stack, because in mixed martial arts, you're like, I just need to get the job done. If I see that opportunity, I can use Muay Thai, I could use karate, I could use whatever skills that I have to seize that opportunity and make the solution happen. If you have the skills and you recognize those opportunities in real estate, you can now solve challenges that people didn't even see before. So let's go there. We're talking about creative takedowns. That was a pun intentional because I love this idea of taking down properties that most people don't even see as a deal. Something that you're like, oh, I'll just pass. But you're like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Wait, a trailer park? There's some opportunity here, and we need to see how we can really solve some massive challenges. So let's talk about one of the creative strategies that you've done, which I think is just amazing, connecting with these tenants and helping them want to be in this place. You've done a lot of tiny homes. You've helped with so many different facets of real estate. Let's talk about one creative takedown in real estate that you've had. You're like, this is that strategy stack, if you will. Let's talk about how you created that.
Yeah. So just to give everyone some context, you create the strategy stack based off of the context of the deal. Okay, and I know that was a mouthful. So I found myself now specializing in mobile home parks, owning mobile home parks, running mobile home parks, and we can talk about that. The reason why I went that route today. But as far as creative takedowns, first, if you're brand new, I don't know where you're at on your journey with real estate investing. The first step is recognizing that deals can be done in a variety of different ways. It's not just your traditional get a bank loan, put 20% down, maybe rent it, maybe put some money into it and try to sell it for a profit, right? That's very, very basic. So some of my favorite strategies that I want to give you guys today or help you understand more about is learning how to purchase properties subject to the existing mortgage. I love those deals, especially in a higher interest rate environment. There are thousands, hundreds of thousands of people with lower rate interest rates. And a lot of times right now, specifically in 2025, there are lots of people being let go of their jobs, especially here in the Washington, D.C. area where I live, about 20 minutes from D.C., Northern Virginia, right? Because there's all these things happening where they're trying to conserve, they're trying to save money, they're letting go of jobs. So now, unfortunately, right, this is the harsh part about it. Unfortunately, some people, when they lose their income, they don't know what to do. They lose their income, and a lot of times divorces start. People fight over money, right? So first, it's like a downward trajectory. And I want people who are only working a job to be mindful of this, to protect yourself, right?
Yeah.
And so when these type of things happen, I feel so bad for some of my sellers, right? But if they are in pre-foreclosure and it's good, they're going to continue to not be able to pay for that property. Did you know that foreclosures can stay on your record for as long or longer than bankruptcies? And so some sellers are like, man, I just, I'm struggling to pay. I don't want this on my record. I'm already in arrears. I'm already behind this amount of months. So it allows sophisticated or people who understand how to, investors, right? People like me and you, it allows us to get into properties with little to no money down, acquire or control that property, right? And so that's how you get in. Like that's like your jab. That's how you get in. And then you're gonna follow that jab up, for instance, with your exit strategy. So now you're in a deal, you know your numbers, you're in a deal at a lower interest rate than most basic investors, and you take that deal and you can turn around, and after you acquire it, you can refinance into your own banking after a certain period of time, and you can keep it as a rental. After you acquire it, you may want to fix it up and then flip it for more profit. After you acquire it, you may want to resell it on your own terms, on seller financing, right? You may want to do a lease option first and then seller financing. You may want to turn it, depending on the location. You might want to just turn it into a short-term, mid-term rental type of situation. But guys, what I'm trying to get towards is this is the mixed martial arts of real estate. You can start with a specific strategy, as long as you have your knowledge, and you can create multiple ways of making money depending on your personality and what your goals are. Does that make sense? That's why
Oh,
I
absolutely.
tell people all the time, guys, there is no one size fits all approach. There's the approach that fits you, your personality, what specifically you want to accomplish. And that's how I relate business and real estate to mixed martial arts. Mixed martial arts, you got a triangle choke, you got a guillotine, you got an arm bar, you got a variety of takedowns, you got kickboxing, you got Muay Thai. So you just got to use what's necessary in the moment. And the only way for you to do that is to train. You said
For
earlier,
sure.
right? You said, dude, like, you got to train, just like you train your body, you got to train your head. And so that's why when people are, when friends and family tell me that they're too cool for school or they're too cool to educate themselves, I'm like, you're out of your mind. Literally, you're out of your mind.
Really, out of your mind.
Because your mind is the one thing that's going to pay you, right?
Yeah.
So I
You think about it, you
Yeah.
sometimes get maxed out from your head down on how much value you can produce. But it is infinite from your neck up.
Yeah.
If you can create value, you solve challenges. Talking about your mixed martial arts skills, like, yes, it's one thing to be able to go take down people and do that professionally, but you pretty much get capped out with what your body can accomplish.
Right.
But you look at like amazing fighters that they maybe have a promotional business. They also are doing real estate, and they start combining all these different skill sets. Now you think about, if you had this same information when you were in mixed martial arts, how would your life be different? Having so much more value that you could create for events, and so much more value you can create by having different strategies. I'd love your take on that. Knowing what you know now, if you could go back and relive those glory days, what would that do for you?
I would have never gotten into fighting MMA professionally.
Yeah, right?
I'm like, why am I
That's
getting
so
questioned?
funny.
I mean, I would still train. I'd do my CrossFit. I'd do my workouts. I'd stay healthy. But I would have just never even, I'd be like, man, I'm too smart to put my body and my life and my brain on the line.
Oh,
It's just, to be honest, but like, you're so right when it comes to like think about Floyd Mayweather.
yes, he's
Think
such a
about this
great
dude.
example.
So he is, you love him or you hate him, he is a genius.
For
Genius
sure.
fighter, genius businessman. He just bought up a bunch of real estate in New York, right? Like, do you know that? Like, he bought up millions of dollars of real estate in New York just like this year. Because when people are running, you need to be buying, right? So he bought a bunch of real estate at a deep discount. And so anyways, it's just amazing.
Well, Umair, let's go here for a second. I know you talked about this idea of a strategy stack. You and I are educated from the same place. There are so many reasons why people want to get into real estate, but sometimes they hit a wall on what they can learn and do on their own. What has having a community of like-minded individuals that are educated, have the same language, what has that done for you to be able to help you be successful and create these strategy stacks for each deal?
Yeah, I mean, people got to understand this, and this is like Tony Robbins. He goes, and I'll never forget this. He goes, our lives are a direct reflection of the expectations of our peer group. And that one hit me for years. Our lives are a direct reflection of the expectations of our peer group. So when I was in my 20s and my buddies they expected me to get drunk, chase girls, smoke weed, do all these things, right? I needed to change my environment into something healthy, empowering, something that's going to clean me up. So martial arts in the gym was that for me when I was a youngster, right? But when I knew I wanted to get into business, when I knew I wanted freedom in my life, when I knew I wanted to control my outcome and not be told what to do and looked down upon because I don't have a fancy piece of paper that says masters on it, right? When I knew that, I knew I needed to be a part of an environment that empowers me. And so we started, instead of finishing community college, I got started with our group, dude. And this group has actually, it's not like the group has transformed me because I went all in I burned the boats. I was like, there is no other option other than being successful.
Yeah.
I felt, I grew up listening to a lot of rap music, and now I listen to it. And I'm like, dang, I listen to that. It's just so crazy. But I'm like 50 Cent, baby. I was like, I'm going to get rich or die trying. There's like no looking back here. I'm going to do this, period. And so when you have no other doubt in your mind, when you really believe that it's going to happen, then the likelihood just goes way up. So
that's that full commitment. That's all in. You burn the boats, like you said. What did that look like in reality? Because I know sometimes we get to this point in our life where like, I need to stop what I'm doing on this side. Like I was reading Michael Huggins' book this morning, and he's like, I had to literally blow up my TV, stop hanging out with poor people, stop doing what poor people were doing, and figure out who is wealthy, who can I associate with, who can I create value for, and learn from them, and just zip my lips so I can start to take that in. What did that look like in practice for you? Did you have to get rid of your TV? What did you have to do to be able to surround yourself with that environment?
Right on. Well, one of the things that I think was the most difficult for me was my family and my background. And it's even hard talking about it now sometimes. It's like the hardest part, growth doesn't feel good.
Yeah.
Everyone wants growth. And they're like, oh yeah, I'm going to grow. I'm going to scale a business. And they're so excited about it. But they don't realize that growing and scaling requires pain. And most people are unwilling, not unable, unwilling to deal with the pain that growth costs. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Let's get as raw as we can. Like the pain of my parents thinking I was crazy, the pain of the school system conditioning me that I'm ADHD, I have a learning disability, I'm dyslexic, and all that stuff was like festering, you know what I mean? So when I dropped out of college for good, I was like, why am I paying $350 a credit and I'll need 70 credits just to get an associate's degree? I'm not even going to be able to work at the UPS store with that. I was like, the hell am I doing? So when I first got into this, there were nights where I was so depressed because my friends didn't understand me and I couldn't go out with them because then I was going to go out doing the wrong things. I didn't have enough money to take a classy girl or a girl I liked out on a date. I had a girlfriend I was dating in the beginning of my journey, and I'll never forget this. We went to the beach and I didn't have enough money for us to stay in a freaking hotel, dude. And she paid for it. And it was the most demasculating day of my life. I'm sitting there like, I can't even pay for my own girls. Like, not that, like I felt bad about it, And so those things, those moments were the hardest, the roughest mentally and emotionally. But those moments are the moments that I look back on. I'm like, dang, I'm proud of myself.
Yeah.
Dang, I'm proud of myself. So it's like, those are the things that no one really wants to go through, because you're going to feel pain separating yourself from your tribe that you're with right now. Right. You're going to feel a pull in your soul. You're going to feel an energy disturbance. You're not going to be the same. And sometimes you're going to feel lost. Like, man, am I doing the right thing? Is this cool? Am I being an idiot? And then you'll have those things, but it's like that commitment again there. So that's been the hardest part for me, yeah. So hopefully that helps, but that's what it cost to get to the other side. And I realized that either way, life is going to be hard. Which hard do I want to pick? Hard when I'm broke, or hard where I'm not broke?
Right. We have to accept the pain.
You got to. And it never ends, because as soon as you hit a field goal, as soon as you hit a touchdown, it's like there's levels to the game, right? Yeah. But then that's why I love how you're mixing personal development with business, because I meet people who are literally multimillionaires and they're depressed.
Right.
Because they don't define what success means for them from the beginning, right? And so I can go off into a tangent about that, but I am, I'm grateful for where I'm at.
I feel it. One of the things that I think you really tapped on here is the importance of pain, and pain that we choose rather than pain that we just let get inflicted upon us. Now, when we live a default life, guys, I hope you hear this. You are still going to have pain. It's just, it sometimes comes a little bit with later consequences. The pain of not going and exercising will be maybe not felt immediately, but the pain of going to exercise, doing your Muay Thai, your regimen of CrossFit, all those things that are putting you in the space of, I'm going to be the very best I can health-wise. Now, go through that pain now so I can enjoy the benefits. You do the same thing in business. Every single one of us have those moments. Like I remember last year, I got to this point where I was focusing so much on my business that I had kind of let myself go because my mom was dealing with so many things. She recently passed away in June.
Oh, man.
And man, it wrecked me. Your personal life directly impacts your business, guys. If you don't know that, we have to have a conversation. But you think about this. If you don't take care of yourself, nobody is going to come and save you. You have to take full responsibility for every element of your life, your personal life, your professional life, your vitality and your health, and how you recharge and how that connects your community. If you are not intentional and designing your life, other people will design your life for you. You will fit into their dreams, and very rarely did they plan anything for you. They might have said, hey, this is how you fit into my dream, but you're going to be underappreciated. You're most likely not going to be able to have the relationships and lifestyle you want, and the community is not going to be able to fuel you the way that you want. This is that idea with this. I wanted to talk with you here. You had this idea of pulling your soul in the right direction. How do you define your life? Because there's something that I think is special about you, Umair. You don't, go to the drum of somebody else's beat. You actually set your own sail and say, this is, the wind's blowing here, but I'm going to set my sail. I'm going to go this way. This is what I want out of life. How did you design your life, and what did that process look like?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Before we go there, I was thinking about something I just want to share.
Go ahead.
As you grow as a businessman, as a family man or woman, right? As you grow, it's important. And this is like, it's important to never, the people around you, it's not like they hate you or they despise you or they're jealous or they're envious. It's just that as soon as you start growing, the similarities separate. And when that happens, naturally, those people want to bring you back down to their level, because if they don't, it means love loss for them. So as you go through your journey, just make sure you love everyone through it. Right. It's like, especially with like my brothers, my sister, like we're all different, but just because we're different doesn't mean I don't love them. Right. And so especially like, look, with your friends, family, that can all change. But with you, like with your friends, that can change. But with your family, right, you're going to grow and you're going to start changing, and they're going to be like, what's going on? And they're not going to like that. But you have to forgive them for that. You have to be so developed that you love them through that. And that's what I've learned to do over these years. And I just wanted to touch on that.
I think that's beautiful. That reminds me of this idea of not just let them be what they are going to do, but let me take responsibility for my own responses and how I treat other people. We can always treat people well, even if we are not seeing eye to eye, even if they don't support us, if that makes sense. But as soon as you're successful, they'll be like, oh yeah, I had you the whole time.
Right. That doesn't happen, right? You just love them anyways.
Right. Well, let's come back to this. So this idea of wind's going to blow on all of us, but it's the set of your sail that takes you where you want to go. How did you learn to set your sail and say, this is what I want out of life? Here's my direction. This is what I want to accomplish. My intention is I'm going here. And how did you make that happen? Because a lot of people talk about it, but they don't do it.
Yeah, I watched a lot of things like this podcast. I have a lot of people that I look up to, a lot of coaches, a lot of mentors, like Bob Snyder's one of them.
Yeah.
And so Michael Huggins, love that guy. He's one of them. Tony Robbins has been my coach from when I was a kid. I picked up one of his, and I still have him right here. I'm looking at him. Tony Robbins' personal power program, the Ultimate Edge program. There's all these programs. And so I take what I want in life, and the best thing to do, guys, is model it. Modeling. Okay. So it's, you heard this whole saying, fake it till you make it, right? It's just another way of saying, take what you love out of your mentors, your leaders, your presidents, whoever it is that you look up to, that you aspire to be like. And what I've done is I didn't create my own thing. I'd be lying if I said I did. I take a piece of every leader that I love, and I bring them into who I am. I bring them into my personality, whether that's their integrity, that's their way of being, whether that's their heart, their business acumen. And then I mold those into my own personality. We are creators. You can change in a moment. It's just most people are addicted to being who they've been.
Yeah. That's beautiful. Darren Hardy, one of the guys I really love to follow, he has this idea of M&Ms. You model and then mimic those people that you love. And it's like, that's such an easy way to do it. Like, you get some M&Ms, right? Not the chocolate M&Ms, but literally modeling and mimicking the people that you want to be like. And what you said there is great. There are a lot of models that I'm like, that is a warning for me. I'm definitely going to choose to not do that. And you can learn from anything. You can discover ways of not being just as easily as you can say, wow, I really want to model that person and how they did this transaction or how they did that takedown of this amazing experience. Right. So when you are taking any coach or mentor and what it is that they're teaching you, how do you select which things to actually listen to that you're like, wow, this is someone that is of value. They are delivering value. They are at the top of their game. I want to model them, versus someone that you're like, you don't know what you're talking about. How do you source which people to listen to? Like true practitioners.
That you just said it, right? People who practice what they preach, right? You're not going to, like, so many people want to give you advice, but rarely do they want to take their own advice.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm like, interesting, right? So I'm always looking at who's living the type of life that I want to live, who has the type of relationships that I want to have. And I'm modeling that behavior, right? Even with like peace or yoga or health and mind and body, I'm just like, Sometimes you meet people and they just have amazing energy, and you're like, wow, I love it. I love, like you. When I met you, I was like, man, this guy, I just love his freaking energy. I could talk to him for days. You know, it's like you brighten people up. It's like good chi, right? So I was like, man, I want to. And like when you get around people like that, it's contagious. I'm like, let me have some of that. Rub some of it on me. You know what I mean?
I like that.
Right? It's the same thing when you're around too much negativity, right?
Oh,
like, you ever been around someone who's always bringing you down? They're like, you ever watched Winnie the Pooh when you were a kid? They're like Eeyore.
Or Eeyore, like, hi.
Well, I don't know about that, Piglet.
You're like, oh, Eeyore.
Oh man, I want to be around a bunch of Tiggers jumping around, freaking Winnie the Pooh. Give me some of that honey, baby.
Oh yeah, well, honey badger, I get that. That makes a whole lot of sense, right? So fun. This is so key, though. I had a really great experience from, man, this is literally probably over 10 years old. But my mission president's wife, Sister Hirsch, she said, if you take a glove and you throw it in the mud, what happens to the mud? Does it get glovy? And I was like, no, it doesn't get glovy. It gets muddy. It's like literally who you associate with matters. How you associate with those people matter. And if you're like, man, this is not the environment that's going to help me grow, help me get better, it's just going to make me worse, you sometimes need to say, you know what, I'm not going to take my glove and throw it in the mud. I'm going to go be around those people that enjoy white glove service and go around the people that make it awesome. So think about this, Umair. I would love to hear your take on this. You have tried a handful of things in business. You've been able to say, well, I didn't dabble here. I went and I did this, and then here's the result. And I went and I did this, and here's the result. How did you finally land at what you're doing right now? Because this is something that people get in analysis paralysis and they think, oh, because I don't know everything, I'm not going to start. And it's like, oh, just start, choose something and go do it. And then look at the results. Did I like it? Was this something that was valuable? How did you arrive where you are now? And let's talk about that process.
Yeah, so now I'm really, really leaning into mobile home parks.
Mhm.
I've got 5 parks that I own, little parks, and they're cash cows. Really, they make more, and I can literally show, not just say, they make more than any other asset class, more cash flow than any other asset class in real estate. We are in a housing crisis here in the United States of America. There are millions of baby boomers retiring that don't want to be in 2, 3 level story houses.
Mhm.
There are multiple strategies when you own the park. You literally, when you buy a park, and there's different classes of mobile home parks,
Mhm.
right? It's not just trailer trash. People think like, oh, negative stigma, right? They're
Yeah.
absolute, and I always do opposite of what the masses are doing, anyways,
Right.
because masses always tend to lose. Just look at history, right? So, um, there's there's multiple income streams, and when you own a park, you basically own your own mini real estate investing ecosystem.
Mm.
I really want you to think about this, right? If you own a park, you could, of course, you could charge what's called lot rent. Basically, they're paying you rent for the dirt. Okay. And people are bringing their own mobile homes, they're putting them on your lot. But in that park, you can also have park owned homes where you can rent the homes yourself.
Mhm.
Within a mobile home park, you can have some homes that are just sitting there. Maybe you bought it from an older seller, and you can wholesale those homes that are sitting on your park that you purchased to an end buyer who wants to flip them. Inside your own park, you can flip a mobile home. Inside your own park, you can do creative acquisition. So you basically own a neighborhood. Right?
It's awesome.
Isn't that cool? Like, that's
That's so
pretty,
cool.
pretty, pretty cool. And you're providing value to the people who need it the most.
So good.
Right? The first market to crumble in a market downturn is not the mobile home park market, it's the luxury markets.
Yeah.
I've got developer friends who have filed bankruptcy because now they're sitting on all this inventory that they can't sell.
Mm.
Banks going into trying to do short sales, right? So it's risky. I'm very low risk, high return, conservative investor. That's who I am.
Yeah.
And so I try to teach other people to be the same way. And so that's where I see the value right now. That's where I see the money right now. That's where I see no risk right now,
Mhm.
right? In the mobile home park space. And there's only like 39,000 parks in the country, and they're not making any more. Why? Because the real reason why is the homes are considered vehicles, and
Mhm.
the counties and the towns don't get as much tax revenue than they would from an actual neighborhood, right? But that's starting to change because of the housing crisis.
Yeah.
A lot of things are shifting, and you got to stay ahead of the curve. And so those are some hints on why mobile home parks. I'm going to be teaching a class on mobile home park
So stoked.
on mobile home park investing. I'm going to be going into details, specifics, action steps for anyone, regardless of whether if you have money, no money, like anyone. I'm going to show
Mhm.
you how to get started and go from nothing to money within that course. And that's coming out, I think, May 16th. So
May 16th.
yeah,
So
baby.
good, man. One of the things I love about you, Umair, is you don't just give the high level stuff. You have some really specific insights that let people see, oh, this could actually work for me. If people are listening really carefully here, you create an ecosystem. It's not like you only get to do one deal and then you're done with it. You're like wash your hands of it and you're like, I'm done.
Right.
One of the things I've noticed with people that own parks is they might flip the same house over and over and over again because maybe someone defaults on their property and they're like, oh, we're going to do this again. And then you get seller financing set up and then someone moves away and you get the house back and then you do it again. What's your experience of being able to create this ecosystem and improve the entire neighborhood because of your skill set?
My experience has been awesome. Like I said, the tax assessor's office loves me because I'm bringing in value. There's people from other areas around the country moving into my parks. There's like, I'm increasing the values of the areas. I'm bringing in higher quality tenants. I'm cleaning up, the rift rafters, if you may. So overall, it's very, very good for everyone.
Yeah.
But it's not gentrification.
Right.
Right. Because gentrification, you're moving people out of places, they're building these things, the affordability goes up in an area. So I wanted to provide value, but I also wanted to give back to a community. Right. And so it's mobile home parks is a part of unsubsidized housing. I'm going to be talking about this in my class. And so it allows an investor to make good money, but it also doesn't push people out of where they are. And that was important to me.
Yeah. I think that's a way that you can keep your community solid and give them, when you talk about value, like giving them something that they can use for their family at their current economic situation. Because some people, it's really hard for them to mentally get over this idea of how do I make more money other than getting a second or third or fourth job. You're like, you have to be able to create more value for people. And this is something that we talk about all the time in storytelling with how this attaches to your business. If you can clearly articulate your story and let people see why that value matters for them, why that is going to impact them, their quality of life, their lifestyle, their community, their systems, how they put all these things together. That's when, as you share those very pointed, focused stories, you relive it in a way that matters. Every time you give them an offer, they're going to say, you know what, this makes sense to me. I'm going to do it. Improves your sales. It changes everything. So just what you did, Umair, like, guys, if you haven't thought about mobile home parks, but you're like, you know what, based on what Umair said, I definitely want to be part of that class. Definitely want to come hit me up. I will get you connected with Umair. It is going to be an awesome opportunity because this is not content that's going to go out to everyone. This is exclusive content that we're doing within our community. And wow, like you definitely over deliver on value. And I'm super excited to be part of that class, man. You're going to be amazing.
Yeah. And, I am just so grateful to be here. But, I'm really excited about the people that are going to get the opportunity to learn and coach with you.
Yeah.
Right. You're such a strong leader, such a strong communicator. And I really feel like the value that you're providing by helping people tailor their story and giving them the coaching, everyone needs a coach.
Everyone does.
Even coaches need a coach. Mm-hmm. So I love that you're providing that for people who are willing to step up to the plate, man. Good for you.
Thanks, brother. Well, I appreciate you. Thank you so much for all of the value that you created today. I mean, this idea of strategy stacking, MMA, those mixed martial arts going to money-making activities, mind blown. So grateful to have you here today. And Umair, this is not going to be the last time you're on Leveling Up Podcast. I know we're going to have you again. So thank you so much for sharing so much value. Guys, where can we have them come and connect with you more? Go ahead, Umair.
I'm easy to chat with. You can go to, I'm on Instagram, Umair_Haq, UMAER_HAQ. I'm on Facebook. You can look up my YouTube. I'm trying to be more proactive on sharing. That's why I love coming to things like this, because I don't like schedule. It's not like my full-time thing, just trying to, share, but I love to share. But if you could look up Hands-On Real Estate, and we've got some cool stuff on there. Awesome. And I'd love to chat, love to connect.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Umair. Guys, I wanted to make sure that you get all the value out of this conversation. I have my 3 reasons stage fright costs and why you must fix it. Fear is the thing that's holding back most people from sharing their story. If you can unpack that fear and have those arrows go out, help you help yourself. This is what I do. I would love to have that conversation. Make sure you DM me. I will get you that ebook, and it's going to be phenomenal to talk about these value-adding stories so you can go make more sales, build your relationships, do the things you need to help your community grow. So excited to be here. Umair, thank you so much for over-delivering on value. Love you, brother. Way to just knock it out of the park, man. So good. Yeah, I should say take it down, right? Do a great takedown. We got to keep that in there. Get rid of the baseball analogy. Go knock them out. It's fantastic.
Love it. Have a great day.
You too.
Bye, guys. Cheers.
God bless, guys.